Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Simon.
I don't think since you that his mic was unmuted there, but it's fine. This is A View from the Bridge, official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. Today's Tuesday, the 8th of October, 2024. My name is Patrick Smith. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You also download us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all even normal podcast providers. If you're watching on the likes of YouTube, or you can send us all your messages and whatever, or like and subscribe on YouTube and all that sort of good stuff. On this week's show, with under 10 minutes to go, the Belfast Giants overhauled a 1-0 Cardiff lead. They were now 3-1 victors at home. Let's pay tribute to the hard work of the team and the goals that were scored. Josh Roach is in his 4th season as a Giant, and he'll be along to chat, no doubt. I'll be bombarding him with my sort of pet topic of this season, which is U Sports. And hold on, to just reread what I said last week. And with it being the 25th season of the Belfast Giants, we'll be hoping to invite a number of Giants legends to come on the show to discuss the club. A few come bigger in legend or stature than number 28, Jason Bowen, who'll be along in just a while. Throwing some news, player of the month results. Let's have a fun show. If you're watching live, send us your comments, all that sort of good stuff. And on Facebook, on Twitter, or on X. Or on Facebook, or on YouTube, or on X, and all that sort of stuff, and we'll get on with it. Mr. McJimsey, how are you?
Hi, all right.
Sorry, and Mr. Kitchen, you doing all right?
Yeah, full of beans, mate. Full of beans.
It's quite obviously. I was at I was at Tottenham on Sunday, mate. I guess I said last week. Hell of a stadium.
Yes, oh, it was. I think did they win? I had no idea. I didn't watch any of it.
Oh no, but the world famous New York Jets did not win. In fact, they were terrible. I could bore you for hours on the decision on 4th and 1 to try to sneak it over and not go for a field goal. I could bore you about the decision making of Aaron Rodgers to fly on the top for.
I could also mute him so you don't have to hear all this, people. So let's get back to the hockey.
That'd be perfect. Great job.
No, well, they're coming back to hockey. What did happen before the game was I did get to weirdly meet the head coach of the Kenyan ice hockey team, who was standing outside one of the pubs, and he was wearing a Kenyan ice hockey shirt. I'd love to say that I immediately recognized it, but I recognized it as something a bit different. And the guy's name was Tim Colby. And he is the head coach of Kenyan hockey and the Kenyan national team. Really nice guy. Obviously, it was only a matter of weeks or so ago that Kenya was finally recognized as a member of the IIHF, and he was talking to me about all the great sort of plans they have and the sort of investment that they're hoping to get. But it was a really nice guy, and I will give him a shout, maybe get him on to talk about Kenyan hockey in the weeks to come. Really nice little bonus to the weekend in Tottenham. But yeah, have a look. We've tweeted it up and a link on there, and some of the stuff they're trying to do. There's only he looked at me and went, "Did you know we've only got one ice pad in Kenya?" Yep, we've only got one ice pad. We are as well. So, but he was quite shocked at the fact there's only one ice pad on the island. But yep, a really nice bonus. Right, let me just get rid of that, and we're going to start, gentlemen. First of all, belated happy birthday to our good friend and colleague Gareth Martin, who had his birthday this week and is no doubt enjoying himself on holiday. But we're going to start by returning to a topic we covered last week, which were the actions of Dallas Earhart in Altrincham. Dops have assessed it and given him a 2-game suspension in breach of Rule 46.5, a sucker punch. Davey, I'll start with you. First of all, I'll hold my hands up. I did say on last week's show I wouldn't hold my breath on the fact that they'd do anything, but they did.
Said plenty. Said anything I needed to say about it last week, really, Paddy. I think he's done okay there to only get a 2-match ban. Funny, he was talking to Mark Hitchcock on the different subject, on the jeopardy of, do you really want players suspended for games not against your team? And he's going back to the old saying of, you should service a suspension against the team that you committed the foul against. Granted, that doesn't really work in the second half of the season when you've maybe played all the games you've played against teams and stuff, but I understand the logic behind it. Doesn't really benefit us. There's no positive for us for having our hearts suspended for games against other teams. So it's one of those funny ones. It's still, he deserved a suspension. He's got one. Whether I think it was harsh enough is kind of irrelevant. If that's the tariff for skating down the ice and punching something in the back of the head, well then that's the tariff going forward as well.
Sid, anything further?
No, I think again 2 games. The way that some of the suspensions are being handed out, it's probably fair. But again, you can't do that. The game's changed, and our hearts. He must be a good 5 or 6 inches taller than Bobo as well, and I sort of get why he was sort of riled up, and they're 3-0 down. I think it was at that point, and trying to sort of spark his team, but it's a cowardly move in my opinion. And again, he missed out against the next 2. Has he played? Is it 2 games? I think they've played already since then.
2 games. The 2 games were played this weekend.
All right, so well, it's done and dusted now. Let's move on and see where we get to.
Absolutely right. Let's get stuck into the weekend. The weekend's game, only game for the Belfast Giants that took place. Obviously, it was at the SSE Arena, and it was a 3-1 win for your Belfast Giants. The opening goal came from Jared Gurley in 5 minutes in, and they held that lead for around 45 minutes. But 2 goals from Elijiah Barriga and then an empty netter from Jordan Karaguchi rounded out a 3-1 victory for the Belfast Giants. Tom McCullum in nets for the Giants, 20 shots on, 1 goal against. On the other side, Benjamin Bounds, 31 shots on and 2 goals against. Your referees were Joe Sewell and Andy Dalton. I am going to make the comment that I was like, what I normally do after, like, especially when we beat Cardiff, I was like, just having a wee read about things and forums. And I did see a Cardiff Devils fan moan about Andy Dalton refereeing in Belfast when he lives here. I think a little bit of self-awareness for Cardiff Devils fans who think that having referees that live nearby refereeing at your rink a lot of time is a downside. It's happened plenty in Cardiff. Let's just say that. So yeah, Joe Sewell and Andy Dalton were 2 referees. Davy, both teams missing players, but despite the Giants chasing the game for 45 minutes, it's a 60-minute game and the Giants saw through.
Good job. It was a 60-minute game, and good job the Giants went to that 60th minute because it didn't start brilliantly for us in that first period. Both teams sort of went at each other, but obviously it was the Cardiff Devils that got the go-ahead goal and then played that pretty strong road game. Maybe, if anything, with their shortness, they went to just try and defend that 1-goal lead. I didn't think we were particularly. We kept them to the outside pretty well. Put it like this: there wasn't too many, bar the giveaways and the breakaways that would give them. There was nothing inside at all for Tom McCullum. Done really, really well, and that's with those breakaways. Obviously, there's one later in the game that we'll talk about on its own, hopefully. But stickability of the Giants, they stuck to their game plan. I would say from 10 minutes into the second period, I thought we kind of took over the game. And we just kept coming on waves. And then in that third period, we got those ozone shifts where we settled down and we just fatigued them. We just came on and on and on at them. And, obviously the breakaway opportunity they had just off the back of a power play for us could have changed the game. Didn't. And then we've gone on and got the 2 goals and obviously filled the empty net. This is the one we're talking. No, that's not it. Sorry. Great save from Ben Bouncer. It's very, very similar action where we've got the high slot shot and it cannons off somebody's shin pads and goes down the ice. But that's not it either. Well, let's wait for it. This is it. So it breaks away here. And at that point there, Scott Conway's dead. And he keeps going 175 feet and makes this play. Yeah, I'd say that the forward should have a wee bit of sauce in that pass there. But, that never say die attitude just feeds into the rest of the team. And we go on from there. That has to give us a massive lift there. And we go on and we get the goals. The puck's going out of the zone. I think it's, I can't remember if it's the first goal or the second goal now. I can't remember, mate. It's that long ago. But Josh Roach makes a really great play at the blue line, keeps it in. And Elijah obviously comes up with the game-winning goal at that point. But, all offense was started in the blue line. And, Elijah got his chances and took them really well. Was Joe Cassetti was commentating, saying like he's playing with a real pep and a step, I think was the term he used, just as he comes up with the game-winning goal. And, on balance of play, chances created, big saves made, etc. I thought the Giants were for value for their win on Saturday night.
Since we've talked about Elijiah Barriga, I know we spoke to him earlier in the season about the coming back to the Giants and maybe a little bit of a point to prove. In the last number of games, not just this game, he's really proved a key player. But coming up trumps in this one with 2 incredibly key goals, and that grubby goals at that.
Yeah, again, I talked to him after the game, and we did that interview right down in the players' tunnel. You go to those areas, you've got a chance of getting rewarded. And, it's not easy standing there and taking cross checks and slashes, and you're being pushed out of the way, and he's just making a nuisance of himself in front of the net. And, again, when you look at, he scored 2 goals from 3 feet, not even 3 feet in that occasion, but, he's standing right in the blue paint for the first goal, and he's just jabbing away at it. There's 2 Devils standing right there. I mean, I don't know if we've touched on it too much, but Bowen was absolutely brilliant on Friday night. Saturday night. Tom McCollum was brilliant on Saturday night as well. I thought that it was a battle of the goalies at one point, and even we're going down, I still thought we were going to win the game. I kept talking about, I was standing beside one of our new sponsors in Mercedes-Benz truck and van, Sean Clark, and Sean, he's only been there a couple of games, and I said, look, if we get one here, we're going to get another quickly, and lucky enough, I think it was a shift later that he managed the job at home, and then, the 2 or 3 shifts for Eli after that, he scored the other one and got ultimately the game winner. But the Devils had lost Olszewski in the first, and then I think it was McWilliams. I think it was still the first period they lost McWilliams as well. It might have been the second. Actually,
Williams was a big loss.
The second, but he actually came in to hit. I actually think it might have been Barriga. He came in to hit him, and Barriga sort of bounced off the glass into him, and he went down pretty heavily and didn't move very much. And the whistle went. I don't know if it went because the player was down or it was because the Devils got the control, because I'm pretty sure at that point we had control of the puck and we were on the attack as well. But look, you don't never like to see a player down injured, and glad he got up and skated off under his own power. But overall, I thought we absolutely deserved it. I don't think we deserved it in the first. Really, I thought they were better in the first. They were first to everything. They were battling hard, and they were sort of flying in the first period. We found it difficult to get a hold of the game. But when we did, I don't think the result was any doubt. Both teams missing players. I think they were missing 2 or 3. We were missing Bobo, Cassetti, and obviously Galambos hasn't done anything since then. But it was great to get that 3-1 win over the Devils. First league game at home, and we move on.
You mentioned it during the game, Davy, about how strong McWilliams was for the Cardiff Devils, and that was a big loss for them in that match.
He went after, who would he have went after first shift? Would have been out with Coops. Says who would he have gone after first shift? Coops was out with.
You're muted, says.
Sorry, right down along the wall.
Just right here, yes.
Straight off the bat.
Who did he go after?
Grant Mismatch.
Yes. So Mismatch first, obviously Mismatch coming back off an injury. He's not going to get involved. McWilliam in the first shift of the game, and then Coopsy come in and threw a big hit, and he's cross-checked. He's begging for to get the Devils off the start there, but neither of the Giants were looking to get engaged with them. But yeah, physicality from him in the extreme. I don't know whether that's because he was playing a wee bit hampered and he wanted to put down a bit of a marker, but obviously the 2 guys from Belfast skated away from those incidents, and it just says talking about the Dallas Earhart incident, talking to TV's Neil Coach Russell the weekend about fighting in the game and how much it's gone down, how much the game's changed. And yeah, because we know so much more now about the dangers of CTE and brain injuries, and the game has changed. Other people can argue whether it's for the better or for the worse, but it also leaves there's a lot more of those little niggly plays that you didn't see in the past because you knew you were going to have to answer the bell for it. But no fights through September for the team for the first time, I think, in history. And as I say, that's for someone else to debate or maybe us at another time, to debate the rights and wrongs of fighting and the changes of fighting in the game. But Obviously, McWilliams went out to try and send a message in that first shift, didn't get a dance partner, but they did. They started really well. Oh, says sorry, Simon. I thought you were on the blower there, so I was trying to fill a wee bit for you. Obviously, they came with a very good road game plan, and it worked for a long period of the game. But I think numbers, as much as anything, caught up for them, and we fed off a big crowd. That gives you a little bit of extra energy, even coming down in the last 10 minutes of the game. That crowd never quit. Scott Conway, who we talked about earlier in the game with that unbelievable back check. There was another couple in the game, a similar kind of idea. Guys didn't quit, and the crowd didn't quit. And once that first goal, the ice just tilted. You see, there's a great picture from William Cherry of when Elijah scores the first goal. He's getting away to celebrate and bounds his face down in the ice, kind of resolve broken. And that, if anything, when you're on the bench and you're seeing that and you're seeing the goal, he was beat at that stage, and unfortunate for them, they couldn't keep the couldn't keep the puck out. So great for us.
Your thoughts says about like physicality. Obviously, Davy's brought it up there, and like no fights in the month of September, the first time in our history. But the physicality in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I love the physicality. It's the best part of the game for me. And I mean, the fighting aspect of, as I say, it's sort of moving away from the game. And these are two really good teams. I mean, there's some very talented players on our roster for sure. And the Devils have got exactly the same. And McWilliams is a big unit. He's played in the NHL, played in the DEL. There was talk before the game that he wasn't fit to play. That he was actually, I think he might have missed the game before, got hurt the game before. So I don't think that it was fully expected that he was going to play. And maybe he went out with the attitude, you know what, if I can go out here, grant mismatch, and just maybe try and take him off for 5 minutes for fighting and stuff like that to get the game started. That's probably good for him. And I don't know if they were expecting him to play the full game or what, but the bottom line is the game is changing. There's no doubt about that. I thought that game on Saturday night was a brilliant advert for EIHL hockey. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I watched some of it back on Saturday night when I got home because I didn't want to watch the Spurs result on Sunday either. For goodness sake, I watched it Sunday night. My apologies. But I thought the both teams, were physical. We even had big Mark Cooper was throwing his body about well. Ben Lake was getting stuck in, which he always does. You talk about physicality from an aspect of it doesn't need to be 6'3" and get stuck in. What is he doing?
Just carry on.
You don't have to be 6'3" and get stuck in. Kyle Osterberg's 5'7", and he's got a heart like a lion. And even to get that play for the game-winning goal, he stops behind the net, throws it back out front again. And you've got two, I think it's Josh Batch and somebody else right on top of him to try and finish the play. And then Easy just basically banging it at the side door. So it's different things. Different players play the game, with regards to their physicality and what they bring to the game. But I have no problem the way that the game ended up the other night. The referees definitely let them go early on because that first instance when McWilliams was holding Mishmash down on the ice. He must have been there for 8 or 9 seconds and there was no call coming. That's fair enough if you're going to keep on calling the game like that. And I thought the referee had a pretty good game at both of them. I thought they had a pretty good game throughout the night. So the bottom line is 2 points at home at this start of the season is exactly the same as what it is at the end of the season. So the players got that big boost. First only game at the weekend in front of another sellout crowd. You couldn't have started the season any better to get off and run at home.
I have to say the jerseys look great as well. I'm a fan of them. I think that obviously it was the Oktoberfest and it might have been a bit difficult on the back to see the numbers.
Nightmare on the back for the numbers. Again, I wasn't obviously commentating, but I was speaking to Stephen after the game and how he's seen those. I have no idea. I said to Laura after the game and she said, yeah, it was a bit of a mismatch, excuse the pun. But it was very, very difficult to see.
Coming back to just with regards to the physicality and whether it's going out of the game and whatnot. One of the things in this team, Davey, over the years, we've always known who that guy is going to be. When it's a physical moment, when it's a physical time to play, we tend to know who's the guy who's probably going to step up. Like somebody like Friendly last year somebody who's going to get stuck in when the time comes. Have we seen that yet? Have we seen who the guy is? Have we seen, or is it just a case of the old adage of team toughness?
I think there is. I think there is a toughness to this team. I think the only one pre-season we had the ball on ball fight, and it was Cardiff game, wasn't it? Kieran Long, can't remember who he fought now. But I agree with Simon. I don't know whether he heard what I was saying earlier. I think the game has changed. It's not going back. These days won't come back where you've got a fight guaranteed every night, or 20 fights a season or whatever. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think when you see the known now dangers of these concussions, players, don't want to take them, and rightly so. Like, I wouldn't quite like to get punched in my job, though I'm sure there's people who would quite like to punch me in my job sometimes. But the game's got faster, the game's got more skilled, and everything drips down from the NHL. We'll talk about this all the time. How many fights are there in the NHL anymore, really? So that drips down to this league. It might take a few seasons or whatever. This league, when you had the wily old vets coming out at the top end of their career, and you had the Jim Vandermeers and stuff, you don't have that anymore. You've got these guys coming fresh out of college, you're coming through an NCAA system that there isn't really fighting in it. I don't think there's fighting at all, is there? Nope. I know they're wearing the cages and stuff, but it's a physical game. All these guys can handle themselves 100% in the physical. Simon, not sure about that.
A comment from somebody called Paxton Schulte claiming
send them a link, tell them to jump on there and have a chat about it. Simon's exactly the same as me. We grew up. Well, I grew up watching him, but we grew up watching hockey where there was a fight over nothing, and it was great, and you never sat down, and it was the most fun part of it. You were the worst.
I loved it.
Grab, yeah, and the next time there's a fight at the Odyssey, nobody will be on their seat. Everybody will be standing and engaged in it. But it's just the game's changed. What can you say? That's just about all there is to it. The game has changed.
I had a sponsor. I don't know if you'd remember, Paddy, but Davy, you remember Alan Green Sports at top of Grampian Avenue?
Yeah.
So I was sponsored by Alan Green Sports at one time. And he used to pay me £50 for every fight. And hence, if we were winning, I was grabbing somebody and starting a fight and getting a 50 quid bonus at the end of the game every week.
But we've gone through a time where we had the likes of the aforementioned Mr. Paxton Schulte and the role that they had to play. But then we went the other way, didn't we? And we had the Sean McMorrows, the Jason Russians, who weren't really that role, but like you had McMorrow calling out Brad Voth in the press, and you had the drop of the gloves in the first second of the game that didn't, and then you flip it to the other side of it, and you remember that game against the Manchester Phoenix when you had Tony Hahn taking a hit, you had Ed Cordy taking a hit, and then you had Carlisle Lewis against fighting somebody who was the Manchester tough guy at that point.
Carlisle Duclique.
Sylvain Cloutier.
And then you also had Mark Morrison fighting Stauffacher in that game.
One of the best fights you've ever seen.
Oh, it's brilliant. But then that game was more or less done, and we played on. You know what I mean? And it was that brought that physicality. You had the policeman element of it, and then done, and we moved on. But I think that's sort of is sort of coming out of it, and as Paxton Schulte says, dirty hits and players don't protect themselves anymore, which is an element I remember when we had Vic Silverwood on many moons ago, that she was saying that was an element of the game that was coming back, the sort of the dirty hits and the lack of protection, because you'd taken that sort of fighting element out of the game.
Let's look at the weekend before last in Manchester, and we've talked about the Dallas Earhart situation where he's cross-checked and he's chased Bobo up the ice, and he sucker punched him, bird knuckle punched the back of the head, caused an injury to our player. And in days gone past, that would have not cleared the bench, but it would have garnered a big reaction. And that's just the suspensions for being an instigator now are too much, especially when you're playing short bench. You've got to be conscious that taking a 2 + 5 + 10 or whatever it is, and possibly game when you're already short benched, and we were that night. Where I think, what would we end up playing 8-5 or something, Simon, that night?
Yeah.
Manchester.
Yeah.
You can't, with Basty's thrown out during that incident. We've taken a bench minor during that incident for a wee bit of chirping. Bobo's got a penalty that he should never have taken a penalty for, you know. So we've come out of that short-handed, lost a man for the game, and then you throw in a fight, maybe an instigator, and you're on a 5-on-3, and all these things factor in. Obviously, I'd love to see the fight in the game, but it's not me throwing the punches or taking them, so it's easy for me to sit and say that.
Absolutely right. Let's get the post game from that, and we'll come back with Josh Roach.
Yeah, very pleased. That's a very good hockey team over there. They made it very difficult on us, particularly in the first period. They weren't giving us very much at all. And for our group, who's an offensive group, very frustrating. You could feel it on the bench, the frustration. But when you're playing against teams like that, you got to keep pushing, you got to keep trying, you got to keep whacking away, you got to give a little more. And I thought they did that in the third period and got rewarded in a big way. Obviously, Cardiff lost a couple of bodies there in that game. I think that they fatigued there in the third period, and our pressure mounted. And it was nice to see Easy get rewarded for his work there in the third period. I thought that everybody was pulling the rope and doing the right things, so it was nice to see it fall in the net for us.
Just bodies. Before we came here, we had five out. We lost McWilliam, lost Olajewski, Donaghy was playing. We shouldn't have been playing now after one of the hits. But the game was lost in the second period. We had 3 breakaways, a 2-0 and a 2-1. And it's not like we worked really hard. We just ran out of steam. We couldn't win the small battles around the net in the end. We just had nothing left. But I thought defensively we were fantastic the whole game. PK was good. I thought we played a really good game. You're right. I thought we deserved something out of that game, but sometimes it doesn't go your way. But I think bodies was the big thing in the end for sure. We were gassed out.
2 points in the bag in the league for the Belfast Giants, and the highlights are, of course, available from our friends at Belfast Giants TV. Right, let's get the first guest on, a man who was part of that game at the weekend. Delighted to welcome back to A View from the Bridge, Josh Roach. How you doing, mate?
Hello. Thanks, Patrick. Doing well.
Good to see you. Obviously, the first question is your thoughts on the game against Cardiff and the late win.
I thought overall we played a pretty sound game. Took a little bit of time for us to create some offense, but I thought once we kind of got that first one, then we took over and we had some sustained pressure. But yeah, just goes to show that sometimes it takes 50, 55 minutes to get the job done, 60 minutes sometimes. So I'm glad we stuck with it and got the win.
It's one of those things that we always hear that sometimes becomes a bit of a cliche, but the 60-minute game and seeing it all the way through to that final buzzer, a perfect example of that on Saturday night.
Yeah, the more that we can get comfortable just doing that and closing games out, I think the less stress we're going to have to take on playing with the lead, and then just playing the game the right way definitely helps.
Roachy, we start there from the weekend. Obviously, the first assist on the game time goal, your 100th assist from the blue line for the Giants in just 149 games. That's pretty impressive from the back end.
Well, thank you. I didn't know that. That's a nice little bonus there.
Yeah, 100. I think it's 121 points or something. 149 games. Like I know you played a little bit of forward in your junior days or whatever, your younger days, and you've been up and down in the last few weeks as well. But like they're solid numbers.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that you're able to contribute to the team's success, obviously is a bonus. Some nights you got it, some nights you don't. But for me, yeah, personally, Saturday night was good, and hopefully we can just continue that trend of our solid play moving forward into a 3-game week this week.
What about yourself? Now, do you see yourself more? Never going to say veteran. You're a very young man compared to me, but in that senior leadership role, if you like, within the locker room now as well and on the ice?
Yeah, I think so. I think just, I keep getting older, but the kids coming in are staying like the same age, right? Like the 25, 26-year-olds. I mean, the roles change a little bit on the ice, but overall just, trying to be a good teammate, help where I can. I've been here for a few years, so I kind of understand the league and the city and, how the team and coaches and stuff like that work. So anytime I can help, I'm there.
Roach, I was talking to somebody the other day about a fresh Josh Roach and Kendall McFall when they came in 2017. Out of coming out of college hockey, pro, it was the big thing to do. What were your memories from back in that first season for the Giants?
Yeah, that seems like a long time ago. We had a good team. We had a nice mix of we had a lot of older guys, I feel like, on that team. So as far as the way the league and teams within, address the teams now, I think it's a lot younger. But yeah, a lot of fun. Good year. We won 2 trophies. I got to come over with one of my good friends from school. And then, yeah, just remember playing so many games with the Challenge Cup and then the league and the Continental Cup and stuff like that. It felt like it was a lot of hockey. And
obviously, Big Kendall, I still can't believe he only did 1 season. He was just an absolute gentleman and a great player as well. And you obviously played a bit on the back end with him as well. Do you ever hear from him, or do you keep in touch with him?
Yeah, he's doing his thing back in Saskatchewan. He's got a family and he's married and whatnot with a young child. So I think he transitioned from the hockey life pretty well, and I think he's happy with how things are going right now.
You then make the move to Austria. It didn't obviously turn out the way you had because you had a few niggles and injuries over there. But what was the experience like playing in a different league in Austria?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, that was kind of my goal for my first year to move to a different league. And yeah, just the whole approach and kind of the preparation and everything in the games and the teams and stuff, just so much different than what I was used to. And then, yeah, just like you said, a crazy few years with COVID and then a couple injuries. But yeah, it kind of taught me the appreciation and the understanding that the game isn't going to always be here. So kind of enjoy it when you can.
Brady, about my sort of pet topic of the last number of weeks is the U Sports system. And obviously you're a product of that. Kendall McFall's a product of that. Sammy Rupp's a product of that. We do with Jesse Forsberg, all coming through University of Saskatchewan. And we haven't played more and more we're getting players coming and doing what you and Kendall McFall did, and you guys were probably one of the first with regards to the Belfast Giants to make that sort of immediate switch from university straight into pro with Belfast. We're getting it more and more now. Why do you think we're getting it more and more? Do you think you guys have paved the way and people are seeing that this can be done?
I think a little bit, yeah. Obviously when you do something a little bit new and you have success like we did, it allows teams to be a little bit more open-minded into bringing guys in and seeing what they're about. And then I think too, just, going through school and whatever else you get that to fall back on. And maybe some guys still feel like they've got a bit of game left and want to see how things are over here. But yeah, you're right. Just like with us, even playing the 2 teams that came over here for exhibition games and then them going to other places. I think the U Sports in itself is getting better at kind of promoting the game and offering more for players to do after they're done with the school.
Obviously, we had those 2 teams that came over in the sort of pre-season and sort of help warm us up in the season. It's also interesting, I think, that like you say, we offer that sort of schooling aspect of it, which is definitely a draw, not just for U Sports, but just for a lot of players coming over.
I think so, yeah. Some guys don't have that schooling from the college or anything. They just jump right into pro. So having that where you can do something while you're playing that offers you some stability, maybe when you're done, is definitely appeal. And I think when guys come over, they just sometimes have some downtime or they realize maybe they want to do a little bit more. So it's nice to have that option. Obviously not everybody is into the academic thing, but definitely being able to provide that is a plus.
And do you get sort of guys asking you, calling up, because obviously the hockey world is pretty small, and do you get the guys calling you up and saying, you've made this jump, was it the right move for you?
You know what? Those days are kind of past now. All these new guys, like I said, are pretty young, so I don't really have much contact with them. It's more so when they've agreed and they come here. It's kind of the older guys' responsibility to make sure that they're comfortable and everything is sorted and they feel welcome and whatnot.
We talked to Bo last week, and he was talking about making hockey work for him. He's getting to see Northern Ireland, and you talk about reference, and when guys come here, it's your job to be a bit of a tour guide or show them the ropes, where to go and where not to go. And, how is Belfast for you? Obviously, you could have went away when you were injured, but you chose to stay and rehab here. So you must like it all right.
Yeah, I mean, this is year 4, so definitely enjoy my time here. I think as I've matured and grown, I think I understand and appreciate the city and kind of what it's about a lot more. But yeah, everybody's friendly. I have a good relationship with the team and everybody that's involved with that. And then, like you said, just staying over the summer and being able to, granted I was hurt and rehabbing, so I didn't see much, but just having opportunity to see things that you aren't able to do during the hockey season, right? You have a bit more time for yourself and you can go and explore and do some more things. So I think once you're able to do that, you maybe realize there's a whole new page that you kind of need to discover while you're here. So it makes you want to stay a little bit longer.
Like when you got that first contact, I don't know, it was maybe even before the season that you came, but said or 2016, 2017 or something. Did you think in coming 2025, Josh Roach would still be? We've got Jason Bowen coming up, a guy who came here in 2000, never went away. Shane Johnson, Adam Keefe, Steve Thornton. The names you could list them off. Guys who come to Belfast and it just gets a hook into you.
Yeah, I mean, I think our entire coaching staff is in that list.
Yeah.
Like I said, yeah, there's something about this place. Even guys who leave and go and do something different for a few years, there's a pull that brings them back. And I think that's a testament to the city and to the organization and just kind of how they operate things. Because it shows, if you treat people well and you have a good organization and good people around you, then you're going to want people to come back. And I think that's been on full display the last few years.
Roach, we're really conscious. I know we've got an early start tomorrow morning. You've got a big game tomorrow night in Fife. You've already had success there this season. They've a lot of new faces on board as well as what we have. What's the plan for tomorrow night?
I think just go in and play a simple game. Fife's not an easy arena to go into. They play pretty well at home. The arena is not very forgiving, so I think if we can start on time and just keep things as simple as possible, it's a bit of a travel day for us, but it's nothing we haven't done. So we've been pretty good to start the season here. So I think we want to kind of keep that trending in the right direction. And tomorrow's another challenge for us.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Josh, we really appreciate your time. Good luck tomorrow and at the weekend, and no doubt we'll chat to you later in the season.
Right on. Thanks for having me, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, Roach.
All the best, and a big thanks to Josh Roach for spending his time, and he's obviously traveling to Fife for the game tomorrow. We'll talk about that, all about that later in the show. Now, it's the 25th season of the Belfast Giants. Some said it wouldn't last, and yet here we are in 2024. Davy's giving us the drum roll.
I'm getting a bit excited about this guest.
Yeah, so am I. Delighted to welcome a man who played 77 games in the NHL with the Philly Flyers and with the Edmonton Oilers, but most importantly, won 2 league titles with the Belfast Giants, 1 ISL, 1 EIHL. Delighted to welcome to join us here on A View from the Bridge, Jason Bowen. How are you doing?
Hello. Good to be here. Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you, mate. How are you doing?
I'm very good. I'm wearing my son's gaming earphones, so I didn't know if it would work or not.
Coming across loud and clear. Davey just asked a question about Belfast, just asked a question to Josh Roach about Belfast, about how as a person it can get its hooks into you. It got its hooks into you. You're here still 25 years after signing for that very first season.
Can you believe it? Well, if you asked me if I planned to stay in Belfast when I arrived, I had many plans to carry on, but when I came to Belfast and met the people around, very genuine, it kind of reminded me of home, and more so than I've ever felt playing ice hockey. So I can't fault Belfast. It's my home now. I absolutely love it. I've created a my world here, my family's here, and it's just been amazing for me.
Take us back right to the start. Take us back to that decision to come to Belfast. Obviously, you'd been playing in the AHL, and you get that call to make that jump across the Atlantic Ocean and play
Yeah.
in Europe. It can't have been easy.
I was 27, and I had probably played 3 years in the AHL without any call-ups, in the American Hockey League, and it is a rough league. That was my game. I played rough. Lots of contact, battled for everything, but it was starting to wear and tear on me a little bit. And I thought, well, I love playing hockey. I want to keep playing hockey, but in a less physical style, maybe with a larger ice surface, European. My plan was I needed a change, and literally the next week, Dave Whistle had given me a call, and I remember sitting there. I was with one of my friends, and I took the call, and I said, "Absolutely, send me a ticket. I am coming." I've been with a couple teams that have had their first year in a new city, and there's a lot of excitement, and it's a lot of I mean, it just builds from there. Like it's a great feeling.
It's interesting because you've moved, like you say, you've come into a Belfast scenario where it's just you as part of a team. I'm interested in the fact that the comment that you made there with regards to the AHL and not getting any call-ups, because that's a very different environment, isn't it? Because while you're playing on a team alongside your teammates, you've also got one eye above, and you're
Yes.
sort of in competition with your teammates to get that call up to the team.
Well, playing with a team, you have to perform as well as possible. I never really tried to play. I never thought of it that way, of playing better than my teammates. I played better. I wanted to play better as a teammate, and at the top, they realized that. I I haven't really competed against my own, well, unless it was friendly, um, teammates. But once I was a team, I was for them. But I knew every time I had to look at a roster who was going to be coming after me. You know, that's the way it was in the AHL, and they wanted to prove themselves. And every research had to be done, and there was some big boys coming, looking. So each team usually had about 3 or 4 people on their team that you had to be aware of while they were on the ice.
Bosie, we were talking before you came on. The Giants obviously had an incident a couple of weeks ago. Dallas Earhart chased Bobo Carpenter down the ice, punched him from behind, caused an injury. He's got a 2-match ban from it. But in days gone by, it was your job to step in there at that point, and you were the bodyguard, if you like. You know, you talked to me before about you wouldn't let your mates be bullied on or off the ice.
No,
The game
not at
is
all.
the game has really vastly changed. Simon and me were
Yes.
debating whether that's for the better or not. Oh, here, there's a picture. It's often cited that Paxton had the first full-on fight in the Odyssey, but Jason Bowen got the first roughing penalty. That's the first time the gloves were dropped in the Odyssey arena.
Yeah, I fought Trevor Doyle. That's Trevor Doyle there.
Yeah.
We had a few times before in the AHL that we had fought also, and we had a history, so it was going to happen.
Back when you got 2 minutes for roughing, or 2+2 for roughing, it was.
I think I got a full 5 for that.
Did you
I
think
not?
so? I can't remember now.
I remember the fight going on for a while, so and we both. Yeah.
I look that up while you start talking.
Yes, I
I
think
get
you're
the game
wrong.
sheet.
I think you're wrong.
Could be.
But as Davey says there, Bosie, you know, we're talking about the change in the game and the physicality of the game. The game has changed in the last 20 years.
Yes, probably for the better. I hate to say that, but you can't have people just clean and taking people out, and it's not fair. It's got to be a part of a team. I mean, the fighting part of it is part of it, but you can't just grab somebody from behind and and wallop them. If it's fair fighting, if you both agree, then it's fair. But I think the fact of it's trying to cut out the people coming from behind, doing a cheap shot, and hopefully everybody still remembers it's just a game and not I'm gonna really hurt that guy.
Yeah.
Bozy, you look back 25 years ago, you made the jump from the AHL. Davy's disappeared. You've made him nervous, mate. You've made him nervous. But there was also a lot of guys from the AHL who had obviously were already playing in the ISL. And there was also a lot of guys who sort of came along at the same time as you as well. So when you're talking about you were looking for the bigger ice, I don't want to say, obviously you've got more space out there and you get a little bit more time on the puck. But even back then, you were still dropping the gloves. I don't know how many fights you had in the first season, but it was definitely double figures from memory.
Yeah, I still had the fight in me, Simon. I did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There
was guys that I had fought like Dodie Wood. I had fought him in Anaheim when I was playing with the Philadelphia Flyers. There's Phil Crow. He played with me on a line with Dan Kordick, Philadelphia, and we scored a goal. I mean, could you imagine facing off against everybody's 6 foot, everybody's 220, 230 pound, 17 stone, and we just dumped it in and chased. we threw people around and we scored that goal, or we scored that game. But yeah, it was it's very interesting, and all these guys were starting to come over here, and there's familiar faces, the Moose back in London Knights. I mean, there was tons of guys, scary guys, and wow, they were in this league, so you had to keep yourself going. Yep.
Tell me this: NHL, AHL, ISL, EIHL. Who was the toughest opponent, fight wise?
Well, the toughest opponent I ever faced probably was Louis Lebrusque. He was slightly he hit me the hardest anyway. He was about 6'2", about 17 stone, and he was farm boy tough. He was really strong, and I remember pulling back my right arm to try to hit him, and I pulled it back, but it never went anywhere. Like I was locked in, and then he cranked his back, and I was holding on, and I couldn't even hold on to his arm. Oh,
as if by magic, Jason. This would be the one here.
Yeah, that's the one.
What I got from this video as well, Craig McTavish not wearing a helmet.
Yeah,
it's a big. Here's the fight.
So he hit me. He split my molars on my side there. All my teeth kind of shattered. Not broke completely, but pieces came off. And that Christmas, it was right around Thanksgiving or Christmas, and I remember not being able, those last 2 blows there, I was just like, oh. Anyway, that Thanksgiving dinner I had, I couldn't even eat it. I was so sore in the jaw. But he was a very strong guy.
Kids playing the NHL now. Look back at your first year in Belfast. Who was your apartment? Who were you sharing your house with?
Who was I with? I was alone. I lived in Bangor. Stewie was down the road, I think. Yeah, I
What were
lived
your
in
memories
Bangor.
from what were your memories obviously from that? Again, you talk about, coming into a new city for hockey as well, obviously at a professional level. But what were your best memories? It doesn't always have to be on the ice, but what were your best memories from coming to Belfast that first year?
There's so many good memories and scary memories. I remember trying to drive that Ford car. We all got Ford cars on the wrong side of the road. And I ended up, I would carry 2 wheels in the back, the boot, and just in case I blew a tire because I'd get too close to the curb. And anyway, I always carried 2 spares, not just one. Best memory is actually I started feeling like I was at home. A lot of Vancouver Island, which is my hometown, has similar scenes to driving out to Bangor, and I just felt I just really getting choked up here, but I felt like I was home. Yeah.
Fabulous. We got a message in here. We've got a message coming in here from somebody called Paxton Schulte,
Oh
who
no.
claims that he was your roommate on the road. What sort of a player was he, Jason?
He's a great player. Big guy, strong guy. Could score, could do everything. He was an all-around great player. He's a character, and I'm glad I got to know him through Belfast because I'd only played against him, and I don't think we were very good friends when we played against each other, but I grew to know him well and like his character. Great guy.
Paddy,
Sorry,
before you go, I have a message here from someone who claims to have been your defensive partner in juniors and says they were better than you. A
Probably.
Jennifer Thacker.
Jennifer Thacker is okay. I played Pee Wee. I think it was Pee Wee and Bantam ice hockey with her.
Yeah.
She would have said she looked after the team, but would she be able to? I guess she's listening to this. We were always looking after her too.
You introduced me to Jennifer. It must be almost 20 years ago now.
Yes, she used to come visit.
Stayed Facebook friends with her and stuff. And,
oh, right. Yeah. She would come on a regular basis to Belfast. Yeah.
So, good go.
Hi, Jen.
take us into the locker room in that first season, Bosie. Obviously it was a bit different. The hockey hasn't been in Belfast in that sort of level in the big arena, in the ISL, and you guys are sort of coming out in that first game. We've heard the excitement of that first game, the huge crowd that we had, but as that season went on, and then under the championship season the following year, the sort of the build of belief that hockey could be a thing in Belfast must have grown in the locker room as well as among the fans.
Absolutely. It's a fun game to watch, isn't it? And it's indoors. You guys complain about the rain, and it's indoors. You don't have to worry about that. I think it's great community game because it just invites everybody to it, and it's a good night out. And I know the first year I certainly would hit everything I could possibly hit on the ice. So making it, trying to really rattle those boards and show a good game.
Do you still get a wee buzz, Jason, when you walk through those doors on a game night?
I do. I get something. I know I can barely put skates on anymore. My feet have all changed, and the body is definitely feels a bit older, and but I do definitely.
I've got one to come in with it. You said no, you go out there and you want to hit everything. Let's take you back to when you had to, when you joined the Scottish Eagles. And obviously it was a bit of a shock to us as fans. We didn't want to see you go, and thankfully you came back. But you came back with the Scottish Eagles, and you hit everything that moved that night. You were an absolute wrecking ball. What were your thoughts coming into Belfast? It was a sort of a let's show them what they're missing.
Maybe a little of that, yeah. I I was happy when I did go on the ice. I did get a cheer, and that just lit me up. I was ready to go. A lot of times you don't know how it's going to end up. I remember going back to Philadelphia after I'd been traded, and I was like, I had a bullseye on me, and everybody was after me. So it was different, and I appreciate it. The fans, they cheered. I think I got a goal and got a hits. Yeah. The game for me is what brings it together for me is plays, quick plays, like pass, shoot, score, and then your ability to be playing defense and watch him take him out with the puck. And I kind of had an eye for making that check. So when those things are happening, I am buzzing.
Posey, I totally get what you're saying. I used to love that part of the game. And I loved watching you playing in Belfast because you were just a wrecking ball at times. But now you've got two boys, and I see you regularly at the arena, obviously for the games. What's the feeling from the two boys? Do they obviously they like coming to the games, but do they? Is there any chance of seeing another Bowen on the ice in a Belfast Giants uniform in 10 years' time?
Well, I wouldn't call it out. Jackson says he wants to play the NHL, and it's tough to. He's a goalie, and it's tough to kind of keep him realistic. But they're both junior Giants, and they're going hard. They love it. They love it. Keep asking me, did you play with him? Did you play with him? No. I was just retired when he was born. Like kind of it's
you play with
just it's and then but when they put the PS5 on and play a little NHL and they go to the Legends. Dad, do you play? Yeah, I played with him. So it's kind of cool that way. But they definitely have a buzz about it. My poor youngest broke his leg last year playing. Could skate really fast, but could not stop. So he kind of lost control and went into the boards. He's realized that he's got to take it easy, but they still love it. They both love it.
And you obviously get to see Johnny, and you get to see Stewie every, with the practice and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
The team that obviously this year you've been down a couple of times this year. What's your thoughts on this year's team for the Giants?
I was very impressed. Very impressed. Goalie, fantastic. Who else was the way they came back through that last game was classic Belfast Giant. Never count them out. I mean, I never ever gave up on a game, and that was brilliant. Like they took control. It looks good. It looks good. They look like they've been playing all summer together. So I always when we had a decent start, but not as good our first year here, and I kept telling the reporters, I was like, just give us time. We're just here, And sure enough, we were fighting for it at the end of the league or at the end of the season. So yeah, no, they look good. I'm ready for the season, and I'm looking forward to it.
Bosie, it's really hard to believe that 2nd of December, 6, 7, 8 weeks away. 2024 in the 25th year, if you like, of Belfast Giants. Can you remember that first night? What it was like just skating out the mayhem of that arena?
Yeah, I that's probably the best part is skating out. You know, I once skated out with skate guards and it was still fun. Fell down, but having that, it just your whole body tingles. It's great. It's good. The buzz is still there, and it's amazing seeing everybody that they're true fans. They love it. They love it. Great fans. It's unbelievable.
We have been really fortunate. It's sort of during COVID, we did a few lockdown shows, and we were able to get a lot of the boys that you played with back then on for little chats. I think you might have been on yourself at that time as well. But like the names, guys like us, the names. Paddy, have you got the sheet there with the few of the names on it? There's opening night. Bose, there's the opening night. Doug Sir, Shane Johnson, Rocco, Corey, Wardy.
Rocco.
Yeah,
just go right down to the bottom of that list. You met up with a guy a few weeks ago who made a trip over to Belfast with the university, and Mark Cavlin.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you had a couple of drinks with him.
Cavlin's super guy. All those guys, super. Yeah.
Starting 6, Corey, Hody, Todd Goodwin, Jason Wright, and of course Todd Kelvin. Todd often tells the story that he went to Wiss and asked could he start that night because he knew it was going to be something special. And he got his wish. Take us over to the penalties there, Paddy, a minute.
The penalties, okay. You want to get that?
4 minutes.
Penalties.
Never doubt to stop.
2 minutes.
2 minutes for roughing.
What?
2 minutes at 2:11.
2 minutes for roughing.
2 plus 2.
Yeah,
2 plus 2.
2 plus 2 for roughing. The first fighting major, I think, went to. Was there even a fighting major in the game?
27.
I can't
Yeah,
read.
it was a roughing, but yeah, it's 5 minutes there straight down for Paxton. 5 plus 20, and that was against
second fight.
Yeah,
that was a quite a busy night for the scorekeepers. First night in the arena.
It seemed like a fight to me.
But were you still here when the season Tony was here? Tony Hand? Yeah, so you would obviously Mel Angelstad in that season. It was just a straight up 2 plus 2 for fighting.
Yeah, right.
And you have some of those fights, Eric Kearns and Mel Angelstad absolutely beating the ways of each other. 2 plus 2. Mad all together.
Wow. I just talked to Mel actually.
Yeah.
Good fella.
He's a fireman now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is an amazing hockey family there. I played with hundreds of hockey players that are out there, regular life now, and just working, grinding, and it's fantastic. Big world out there.
He had big hands. I mean, Mel's fists were ridiculously big.
Yeah. Hands with meat on them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Rosie, last before you go, Paddy, my last question before you go, Paddy, because I know we need to wrap it sooner rather than later. In the list of hockey things you've done, Bosie, I know you've made it to the NHL and you play at the very pinnacle of the game. In the list of things you did with your career, good decisions you made in your career, where does the move to take that ticket to Belfast rank?
Number 1.
You'll
Number
do for
1,
me.
Absolutely. Yep. And hopefully I'm here for another.
You'll make me cry. You'll make me cry, man.
Listen, hold on. We cannot go without the story about the chicken wings. That you can't go without that.
That's Davy's story.
Bosie might even remember.
I've been told that story and I don't remember it.
I think it was the year we won. I think it was the year we won the playoffs.
It was.
Then it might have happened.
We'd been out the night before. So you know the story anyway. It was a good one. Right, lads, let's hit this bell. I think we were quite scared. We probably debated it for a wee minute.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't. I looked so to give a screen to anybody who doesn't know. We went in to find Bosie at a Nottingham restaurant eating a lot of chicken wings, and we joined him for like a proper huge plate of chicken wings. He'd gone right through them. And we ended up joining him for a drink. Had a drink between me and Davy. And then the bill came, and Bosie looks at us and we split in this bill. We only had a drink. Who's going to say?
Great weekend. That was a great weekend. I have memories from that weekend that I'll always be grateful for, Bosie. I really will.
Great. Yep. Good memories. That's what we're building.
Yeah.
So two things before I let you go, Bosie. First of all, hopefully next week we're going to have on Mr. Paxton Schulte. What question would you like us to ask him?
Ooh. When's he coming back?
When's he coming back? First
When's
question.
He coming back? And I've got so many. Put me on the spot there.
All right. Well, then we'll come back
on next week if you want.
Maybe I will. He's got one of his sons is playing quite high up right now.
Yeah, Sander.
Doing well.
Yeah, doing well. And the last question I'm going to ask you, mate, is obviously you won 2 championships with the Belfast Giants, and this team are chasing one, try to get back one themselves. What's the secret to winning in a league title?
You're playing as a team. There's nobody trying to outdo each other. You're all playing for a team, and that's the only important thing. You play as a team, you're going to win. You give 110% for your teammate, and he does the same. You guys are going to win. The skill is there. That's what we were doing our whole life. You just got to bring it together. Play no, I got to take that shot kind of thing. It's just no selfish play. Everybody plays together. Yeah.
Fantastic. The word legend is often thrown about a bit willy-nilly, but absolutely a legend of the Belfast Giants. Number 28 played and won and stuck around. And it's been an absolute delight and pleasure to have you on the show, mate. And we hope you're doing well, and hopefully we'll speak to you soon.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers, Bosie.
See you later.
Thank you, Jason. Cheers.
Bye.
Big thanks
Brilliant.
to Jason Bowen. Boys, we've been around this game a long time, around this club a long time, and I know he's not watching in the background anymore, but and I said with all sincerity, Jason Bowen's an absolute legend, Davey.
He's brilliant, mate. He just is, and I get to see him quite a lot down at the arena, and he brings the boys and only him come to the game. And I was talking to him yesterday. He's got tickets for this weekend. We've got him sorted with tickets for Sunday's game. Sorry, he's just a top lad. And I mean, even just thinking that when I was watching that we're not watching the clip, but even the clip that they're showing there playing the NHL. I mean, I remember him coming out. I remember that first game from Belfast and him, beating punching the face off Trevor Doyle, and I can't believe I was only 2+2. But some of the games that you remember Bosie playing, and I actually remember watching the practices, because one of the things it sort of reminded. Well, I was going to say it reminded me of me, because I'm the same age as Bosie, but it's like when I was practicing, I hit people as hard as I could, because if I didn't do that in the practice, I wasn't going to do it in the game. And Bosie was exactly the same. I mean, I remember he hit Ferone one day in the first year in practice, and they bounced up and they were going to go at each other, but they were calmed down very quickly. But that's what makes you a winner. That's what gets you stuck in there, and that's what makes you want to basically go out and beat the wheels of somebody on a Saturday or a Sunday night, whatever it may be. But you know what? That's right up there with one of the best interviews, and one of my favorite interviews that we've done in AVFTB since I joined.
Yeah, that's great. Hopefully we'll get more. Maybe we've asked Paxton to maybe join us this week if he has the time. So let's see how that goes. Davey, your thoughts? I didn't want to bring up this behind me because obviously this event behind me involved Jason Bowen and
yeah,
Darren Hurley.
that was a bad night. And I've told that story before as well. I listened to that game on a train in South Africa on dial-up internet. It was I can't remember. It was a December game, I think, early December possibly. And obviously he had the fight with Darren Hurley that came out of the penalty box, and he had I think it fell and twisted his knee as they engaged in the fight, and Hurley kept throwing when Bosey was clearly down hurt. And obviously
Jason Ruff
got involved. Everybody in the bench got involved. It was actually seen a video of it earlier today, and Rob Stewart, who was coaching at the time, comes out and blames it all on Paxton's shoulder. He said, "Yeah, Paxton got a wee bit carried away there." It was like, well, poor Paxton wasn't even involved in it, but some just really great memories. I know everything was better back then, wasn't it? And for people who are in their 20s now, they're getting to live the period now that in 20 years is going to be, wow, what was it like 20 years ago? And and that continues on because nostalgia makes you happy because you go back to happy memories. And like I remember that in South Africa and being outraged, and I remember Theo Fleury when I was in Toronto, and I remember so many good times I had the arena. But like that weekend in Nottingham when Bosey wasn't playing anymore, you're hanging out with a hero. I know he had a wee pop at you the night before, which was very funny too. The memories you can't share, but no, I think we can't share that. If Ireland's so great, why don't you go to that fair? Something like that, wasn't it? Yeah. But I can't remember. David Hay or somebody was fighting, wasn't it? It was a brilliant, just good memories. And a softly spoken giant. I remember my early memories of him was being up at David Lloyd's, working out with Ali or whatever, and seeing these Belfast Giants on like the shoulder press or whatever, and just moving weights that you can't even think you couldn't pick it up, and these guys were just beasts, and just a really nice guy as well. And another one they add to the list of George Wada, Jeff Mason, Shane Johnson that came and made Belfast their life. And I know I get very weepy and teary-eyed about guys talk positively about my city, but to come from Vancouver to here and say the best decision he ever made in his career, and he played in the NHL, he played at the top of the game, that his best decision ever was the day he got on a flight to Belfast.
Hit you right there.
Injected straight in. Love it.
Right, let's bring it back to the modern day Belfast Giants. Last week we put out the 4 nominations for the Player of the Month award, and the decision came on Saturday. Mark Cooper with 42% of the vote is September's Player of the Month. Says, well worth it.
Look, we talked about this last week. I voted for Kawaguchi. Coming back from that injury last year, he'll tell you himself that he wasn't his best at the end of last season, and then coming out and doing what he's done so far this year. That's why he's wearing the C. That's why he's leading by example, and he's getting out and he's going into the dirty areas. I thought he was brilliant on Saturday night. When you look through the man of the match on Saturday night, obviously Eli got 2 big goals. He got the game tying goal, and then he got the game winner goal. But there were some really good performances. Kawaguchi was excellent on Saturday night. Cooper was great. Defensively, I thought we were pretty strong. However, giving up 4 breakaways, but I thought we were just trying to push a little bit too hard at points. Tom McCollum was great. But Coop's a rightful winner for Player of the Month for September for sure.
Davey, your thoughts on Coops being the Player of the Month for September?
Stats don't lie, boys. Said it last week. I gave him a piece on why he was going to get my vote. But over stats and everything, and Simon mentioned it there, the intangibles that you can't put on a stat sheet, the leadership that he's given this month, going into the dirty areas, especially with the extra man, getting in front, going to that blue paint that he was doing a couple of seasons ago. Hampered last season with injury, didn't get a fair run at it. And for me, like my captain, so pleased for him.
Yep. Congratulations to Mark Cooper. Well-deserved Player of the Month award for September. Right, let's crack on, boys. I'm going to do a bit of news. You boys can sit back and take it easy while I rattle through some of the stuff that's happened in the last 7 days. Let's start with league competition. On Wednesday night, the Clan took a 2-0 lead over the Panthers in the first half hour of the game. And despite a late Diedrich Rembrandt goal for the visitors, Corey Nielsen took the victory over his former charges. A game that also actually had both his sons play against each other, Logan at the Panthers and Cade finishing his short stint at Glasgow before taking his place in the Coast with Utah Grizzlies. Mixed weekend for the Flyers ahead of the game with us on Wednesday night. They took a 3-2 win over Manchester on Saturday before travelling to Nottingham for a 5-1 defeat. Dundee suffered a 6-2 home defeat in the league to Sheffield. Their season struggling to take hold, while the Devils recovered from their late loss in Belfast to inflict a late winner themselves on the Guildford Flames. Joey Martin scoring the odd goal in 5. With a little over 30 seconds left on the clock, secure the 2 points. Been a tough weekend again for the Flames after what seemed to be a resurgence last time around. The home loss to the Devils came a day after their cup defeat to the Blaze in Coventry, again to a goal in the final 2 minutes from Nick Seitz. It was actually a 4-point weekend for Kevin Moore's Blaze side who took 2 points in a shootout in Altrincham. The Storm still struggling to get that win at home. Other Cups results, Sheffield had an OT win in Nottingham when the Clan compounded the Stars over the weekend with a 5-2 win themselves. The Flames, in other news, have released Stephen Callisti. We've, to quote Paul Dixon, we've not started the way we had anticipated. And when that happens, we are a business where roster changes are inevitable. Also, one last bit of news, Ice Hockey UK have released a 14-page glossy brochure detailing their 6-year strategy for success and growth, along a lot of buzzwords like fan centricity. Yes, they use that. Mega event viability. Yep, they use that. And GB Next Gen. This document, which reads at times like a mediocre manifesto, tries to set out how Ice Hockey UK hope to build on successes in the World Champs over the last number of years and push on to other things. Included are an athlete to coach scheme and an athlete to mentor scheme headed up by Matthew Myers and John O'Phillips, respectively. It's hard to know what merit this may have, as while the document has a lot of ideas and a wish list of achievements, in my opinion, it falls a little short on what the practicalities and challenges are in reaching it. Time will tell if this proceeds to be success or just another Ice Hockey UK reset. We've seen a few of those in the last number of years. Gentlemen, I don't know if any of you guys have seen this from Ice Hockey UK, looking to sort of change this sort of 14-page glossy sort of PowerPoint thing, Davey. They're obviously trying something, but we've seen a few things.
I've printed it out, Paddy, to read it. It's my bedtime reading tonight, so no point commenting on something that I haven't read yet.
Says, are they trying something, or is it just...
Davey, I'm gonna have to hold my hands up here. I wasn't even listening to you. So I was sorry. I was getting messages from our leader, so I had to text Adam back. My apologies.
Oh well, in which case that's fine.
It's good news. It's good news. Everything's good, so we're all right.
That's good. Well, then, in which case, then, boys, the Dundee Stars are struggling at the minute, Davey.
Yeah, and I feel for our friend of the show, Mark Lefebvre, obviously trying to get things in order there, and we've seen enough from the Dundee Stars in those early few weeks of the season to say that they should be okay. Just need a wee bit of get back in that form. Your only way to get in that form is to work hard. I think they've got talent in that roster, so keep working hard. I think they'll be okay.
And Flames says they're making early changes because obviously, this stage of the game, they've obviously dropped Stephen Callisti, the D man. I don't think he had any points. He had 9 penalty minutes. He wasn't really doing the job for them. But obviously, the Flames after last weekend seemed to be a bit of a false dawn. No points this weekend or struggling this weekend. It's these changes we've seen ourselves. You have to make changes early if you're going to make them at all.
Do you know what? I'm surprised about the Flames. Like I thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to be ready to go. There's some good players in that roster, but I don't really care from that side of things. But I'm just surprised that they haven't actually won as often as they should be with that roster. But yeah, you know what? One or two changes might give them the kick up a backside that they need to get going. But I mean, I know Cardiff went in there on Sunday night with a depleted roster. I think they're only 4 defensemen at the start of the game with. But by the looks of it, looked like Ben Davies maybe dropped back and played a shift on the back end. And they come out with a win. So, you know, they had a tough game in Belfast the night before and went over to Guildford and beat Guildford in Guildford. So, yeah, it's sometimes you make the change and it works. Sometimes be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, we'll see what comes of the Guildford Flames. Right, gents, in the next 7 days, the Belfast Giants have 3 games to play. That starts on Wednesday night. All Challenge Cup. Wednesday night, a trip over to Kirkcaldy to face the Fife Flyers, 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday at the Fife Ice Arena, or you can join the guys on Flyers TV. Laura and Bean will take you through that game, 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday. And then it's a back-to-back against the Glasgow Clan. First of all, in Glasgow, 7 p.m. on Saturday at Brayhand Arena and Clan TV. And then we're back at the SSE Arena to face the Clan at home Sunday, 4 p.m. SSE Arena. How are the tickets in that one, says?
Going very fast. They're down under 4 figures again, and it looks like it's going to sell out. So it's fans are brilliant.
Crowd.
Absolutely brilliant.
The crowd at the weekend was fabulous.
There wasn't a ticket left. The whole arena was. You always see that, you know, there's seats around the arena that are empty, but there's about 350 people standing on the bridge, having a drink, but there's every seat in the building was sold out on Saturday night. And again, it's got, to be honest, obviously with there's so much happening in the arena over the last month or so, we couldn't get the East End in, but if we had got the East End in, it probably would have sold out as well. So we were sitting in the office and on Saturday afternoon, and there was people coming up to the window to buy tickets, even though we don't sell tickets from the box office anymore. But they're literally coming up the window trying to buy tickets, and there was 2 Canadian people come up and literally flew from Canada and they were absolutely shocked that you could not get a ticket in Belfast on a Saturday night.
Yeah, that's, you know, not great for them, but fabulous for the Belfast Giants.
Absolutely. Yep.
On Cup games, Davy, obviously we've seen in previous years that to do well in the Cup and obviously to have that sort of home advantage, you win again. We have won thus far in the Cup, but you know, we haven't faced the Glasgow Clan yet. They seem to be a little bit resurgent after a bit of a difficult start and getting a couple of wins. Their goalkeeper seems to be kicking in now as well. Corey Nielsen in Glasgow, but then we start with Tom Cullen in Fife. Your thoughts on these 3 games?
I hate this part of the show. You're doing this for bonus.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about the weekend. We'll worry about tomorrow night. Just throw out a few cliches. You know, it is tomorrow night's the most important game. We've got this, you know, in the next 24 hours. So let's get that over. Try and get out of the hole. Try and come out with a positive result. Josh Roach talked about it earlier in the game. Or, you know, do the positive things that we've been doing, and you know, the result will hopefully take care of itself. Then
those 3 games: Fife away on Wednesday 7:30, and then Glasgow away on Saturday 7 p.m, and then the Glasgow Clan come back in to the SSE Arena on Sunday at 4 p.m. And you can get all those on Fife Clan and of course Belfast Giants TV if you can't get to the games. Any other business, boys? And I'm going to start. A big shout to our good friend Mark Brooks, who reminded me that it's 11 years more or less to the day since. Do you remember this promo from the Belfast Giants? Sheffield Steelers were back in. Sheffield Steelers were back into the SSE Arena, having taken Doug Christensen as the coach, and Neil Whiteside, along with Thomas Kelman, decided that, you know, as a promotion to try to push the team, they do this promotional video to highlight that Doug is back with his new team. 12th of October, so this week, 11 years ago, it turned into an absolute meltdown from Sheffield. We had the Sheffield Steelers going nuts about it. I'm going to tweet them up, but there were interviews with Doug Christensen, interviews with Todd Kelman, asking about, you know, was this right? Should we have done this? Do you remember that? Or is it just...
No, I remember it, yeah.
in the days when like the Sheffield Steelers go absolutely nuts about minor things like that, how things have changed.
I thought it was hilarious, to be honest.
I didn't think anything wrong with it. Like literally, it was just the cutting of a tie, a red tie. But of course, that season was a bit different because it didn't really work out. Unfortunately, at Sheffield for Doug Christensen and the Belfast Giants under Paul Adey ran roughshod over the league and lifted the league title.
Absolutely.
Great days. Great days. Any other business, boys? Thought I'd share that with you. Any other business?
No, don't have anything tonight.
No, nothing from you. Mr. Bajemsi, anything from yourself?
Happy birthday, Gina Doherty.
Happy birthday, Gina.
Goodness, a big thanks to everybody who's been sending in all the messages, but nothing further from yourself.
Who do we want next weekend? Who do we want next week for a guest from the player side of things? Should we ask the fans?
Yeah. Well, tweet us in, ask who you think we should have as from the current Belfast Giants roster. Who do you want to hear from? All right. And on that note, then, like I say, 3 games: Fife away, Clan away, and Clan at home on Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, respectively. You can get them on Fife, Clan, and Belfast Giants TV if you're not making it to the game. What's wrong, sis?
He was doing something.
Doesn't matter. I'll text him.
A big thanks to Josh Roach and, of course, to the legend that is Jason Bowen for joining us on A View from the Bridge. That was really fun. We'll do more of that. We'll get more of the Belfast Giants legends in. Hopefully we'll get Paxton and we'll get more and more. We'll talk about the good old days. We'll just say to Mark Hitchcock that we're not going to bring Neil Russell in as one of the people to chat, one of the legends to chat to. Not yet.
He'll be on. We'll bring him. He'll be on.
Don't worry.
He asks every single week, so we'll have to bring him on 1 week.
He never shuts up. It's like most Mondays. It's like, what about this week, boys? I'm like, Coach, calm. Keep your powder dry. We'll get on with it. You can get us at AVFTB on Twitter, or actually get us on Facebook, Instagram, kingdomofgiants.com, and all your usual podcast providers, YouTube, and all that sort of thing. Big thanks again to Josh Roach and to Jason Bowen. Big thanks to Mr. Majemsi and Mr. Kitchen. Good to see you, boys. And wherever you are this weekend, we
Can't
hope
see
you
you
enjoy
nice.
your hockey.
Where'd you go there?
We'll catch you here next time on A View from